Hi there. I read something ridiculous that Lloyd Blankfein is seeking legal protection for his crimes. Perjury in the Congress, and of course all the other crimes that the Security and Exchange Commission and the future trading blah blah, they all put in the shredder. All these crimes, but now he's lied in Congress, and of course that's a very serious crime. You shouldn't do that, and I think it would be much wiser for him to disappear, to simply that you read a newspaper article that he crashed with his plane in some vineyard or something like that, like Martha's Vineyard, like the Kennedy guy. Of course he died, but there's many ways to disappear. Or he, for the same, he was captured by a mob and thrown into the Hudson River and never seen again. Where he was chopped up by the currency generators. They have these propeller things underwater there, which make power out of the flow of the Hudson River very easily and not problematically. But he was thrown in the river in front of those. Something like that. Much smarter. Because why would you be working? What is that incredible desire, that incredible need to be on the top of the food chain? One of the reasons could be is that there is multiple contracts out on him, that he knows that when he tries to escape, people will find him and they will track him down and they will kill him, because there's these financial liabilities. A famous murder which is highly probably related to financial deals is the one of these I thought it was Eugene Rothschild. Maybe it's not, it's a little bit of a different name, but it's the brother of Nathan Rothschild. He made a deal that he shouldn't have made, and 2 hours later he was dead. It's not funny, of course, but in this case, trying to get to a court of law and trying to get justice is just such an insult once again, because people don't like the high-end lawyers as well. They think they're parasites as well. So he's not protected if he is, let's say, he fights it and he gets freed and he walks out on the street, and it's now pretty clear that he's responsible for a lot of problems to a lot of people. To express it in a kind of a mild way, but many people died because of this guy's financial crimes and because of his bank's financial crimes, just the same as the JP Morgan bank and other banks. It's simply, they might have died otherwise, but there's a pure causal relationship between not having too much money and safety of work in the safety of the workplace, the living standard of veterans, the living standard of the elderly. Who commit suicide because they're their lives is too horrible. They don't want to live anymore. That's because their money is taken away, because they went bankrupt. How many lives are that? How many people became unhealthy? You got heart disease or whatever, you got high blood pressure, all that stuff. All because of these bankers. All because of they didn't want to give up the oil credit franchise or the carbon credit franchise, if you want to generalize it over gas and coal, in order to create the renewable society, the society which is powered by renewables and where there's enough energy to do any job eventually. Even if you don't have a robot to do the job with the energy that you have, you can always supply the energy to somebody that otherwise would have to work for it and let that person do the job. So give him a job, paying him in energy, paying his energy bills, or let's say you create money by that if you sell energy. So there's always a link with that. I'm sorry, that might be a little bit annoying, but if I was Blankfein, I just so now the only thing that he can do is plead guilty to a very specific perjury or a very specific crime, of which he knows that the penalty is not too wild, and then he can go to one of his own private prisons that he he basically buys for himself, because that's of course also a consequence of private prisons. Might as well be a spa and a brothel, and all these financial crooks, they'll say, okay, I'm sorry, yeah, we did it, I'll have to go to this criminal facility for 4 years, and they're there hanging out with televisions and all kind of luxury and people walking in and out, and it's called a penitentiary institution, privately owned, high-end, only for the people that can afford it, on a tropical island somewhere. And you know, it's like, what are the safest places right now if the chaos erupts? These are the prisons. Of course, you don't want to be involuntarily imprisoned and locked up. But you know, in science fiction, fantasy world, you can easily imagine that one of these rich assholes built a high security prison somewhere in the US, which on the outside looks like a high security prison, but on the inside is not a high security prison at all. Anyway, funny idea. I think it's ridiculous. Also because the Supreme Court has said they would be lenient on bankers. So then, let's say there's this, the Titanic is sinking, and the lawyers are next to the lifeboats. And if you don't have the money to pay for a lawyer, you're not in a lifeboat. If you are to pay for a lawyer, you're in a lifeboat and you're shipped right to a ship that is nearby, painted black, called the legal system. And nobody sees it. It's not in the movie, but all the rich guys, they bail out like that, and even publicly they are somehow exonerated then through that legal system. They should be punished very clearly, and not by the current justice system, because the democracy defines the justice system as a lower importance than mob rule. Well, mob rule, we all know, is not in force, because otherwise everybody would be rallied against the financial crimes. So you don't have justice in the US. That's pretty clear. So you don't want them to be tried by the normal court, I would say, legally. Maybe you can have, I don't know. What would make me sufficiently happy is if these crooks, whoever they are, for their fraud, and if it's, let's say we make if you committed fraud for more than $500,000, that's enough for me, because you stole it from someone and he got bankrupted and all kinds of trouble. You basically dislocated part of the economy. If that's your crime, then we'll strip you of all your assets and and make you find a job which cannot be of a higher wage of about $35,000 a year or something like that. That's the cap on your income. And otherwise you don't have anything anymore. That would be my punishment. You know, very cheap and actually quite pretty useful. These people are smart. So I hope that idea catches on somewhere. But thanks for listening.